in it at all. They were not. They weren't winning. They were winning second balls. We weren't doing that as well as we did in the first half, and we needed that goal. That was big. That was absolutely big. We needed that goal. And yeah, as we've been doing, I'm going to stick it right here. We keep it right here. Keep it locked. We're not going to switch to a different stream for the match reaction. We're just going to do it right here and then post it later. So welcome in to the match reaction here. We're going to go and get it started. I thought, firstly, Odegaard not in the team was interesting to see. A knee injury, I guess. And so like I wanted and like I expected, Eze got same spot that he was in. And what I called for from the beginning of this game was to absolutely press them to death, to press and press and press and press. And in that first half, that's 100% what we did. It went exactly like I wanted, like I predicted, like I hoped it would, obviously up until the Hincapié own goal. Chelsea's and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Chelsea's corner kick routine. It was interesting, but exactly what I expected us to do and exactly what I wanted us to do, we did in that first half. We were they're singing Saliba. We were in the passing lanes. We stayed with our man, and we kept the lanes narrow. We were very close to each other in the press, and Gyökeres making sure that Sanchez couldn't play it to the side he wanted to, and Gyökeres almost took it off of him one time. That is 100% what I wanted to see, and we did it so well. We did it so well, pressed from the front, and made Sanchez hit it long time and time and time and time again. And it was going great. It was perfect. We got our goal. We got on top from the corner kick. And the corner kick routine from Arsenal is the same one we do. We do one of two free kick routines normally. And the one we did this time, Gabriel starts on the penalty box, does his jinky left, right, and then went all the way around to the back post while everybody who was at the back post goes to the front post, and he's able to get another incredible cross corner kick from Bukayo Saka, very deep. He's able to get it back across, and Saliba's there. It's chaos in the box. That's what we're living off of this season. That's what we're absolutely eating from this season. And Saliba's able to turn it home. And so we had our goal. We played very, very good. We were very good in that first half. Had control. And when you saw the stats at the end of the first half, I was shocked. I was actually shocked by the stats at the end of the first half. Chelsea had almost 100 more passes. It was like 60-40 possession in their favor. Or no, it was 57-43 in their favor. And now that I'm thinking about it, now that I'm thinking about the numbers, 57-43. Yeah, that's a little bit. Now that I'm a little calmer and I'm thinking about it, that's closer. That's closer to what it was. And it's interesting because we had no issue letting them have the ball. I noticed that a lot in the second half as well. We were totally fine with them having the ball, and we were winning it up high. We won it up high a lot, or we made them hit it long. And that was 100% what we needed to do. And it worked. It worked to perfection in that first half. But I will say that the finishing from open play, like the decision-making from Leandro Trossard, that's where we'll go next, because of all the performances, I've got the most beef with Leandro Trossard. Because, as always, against the ball, he was fantastic. Covering and helping Hincapié, who was also fantastic, despite the own goal. Trossard did well. He did very, very well running back, making sure he was in the channels. And you could see, as far as executing the tactics, Trossard was spot on. He was right on. You could see that he was dragging Reece James into the midfield a whole bunch. He was one pattern I recognized like very, very often, was the Trossard would come back and it would break the press because James was having to chase him a really long way. And while that was happening, the other side, like Timber, it was the Timber on the other side was pushing up and the ball into Timber in because Saka was also pushing up, forcing their backside part of the press to go with Saka and leave space for Timber. And we did that all day long. It was all day long. And you could see that pattern was unlocking the press all day long in that first half. And we definitely, I thought, passed through the lines well. A lot of the times we transitioned well, except in the decision making. I think we need to shoot sooner on those fast breaks for one. And that's everyone, and that's everybody. But the two main times for me that Trossard really just boiled my blood was the first time, and they happened like back to back. They're very close together. Trossard had won the ball where, like at half field, and a whole bunch, most of the Chelsea players were ahead of Trossard, and he runs in, and Gyökeres overlaps him. Just lay Gyökeres in. Just lay it in. Just an easy little ball, and Gyökeres can sweep it home. But instead, he waits and he waits and he waits, and he rifles a ball at Eze, who is 7 yards away from him, and he's like taking a touch, and it's all kind of broken down a little bit. That's the one where Timber ended up coming in and getting a really tame effort on right at Sanchez. But it broke down. It broke down because Trossard, like, I don't know if he took too long to make the decision. I don't know what happened in his head there. If he just takes him way too long to make the decision. But I think as soon as Gyökeres gets around him, that's the option he should have taken. That is the option that he should have. Wow, let's remove this clock that's still running there. That's the option that he should have taken. Here, let's listen in here. Willie Saliba and Timber. They're still singing his name. He says we shouldn't concede. And he says, did well in the second half with the set pieces. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. He's not. They normally don't say anything you don't already know in the post-match interviews. Of course, they got both Timber and Saliba there, our goal scorers today. But yeah, I think that we should have punished them way more in the first half. And then the second one for Trossard that had me wishing he was hooked at halftime was, once again, we win it off of Chelsea while they're pressing high, and we have a ton of space to play into. Declan Rice is marauding forward, and he plays it right at Moises Caicedo. And so against the ball, Trossard was fantastic. On the ball, his decision making was slow, and his final ball was not great. I think there was a couple of moments where he should have shot sooner. I think Eze should have shot sooner a couple times in that first half. But all in all, I thought we were fantastic in that first half, and I was very, very frustrated at halftime. I was very frustrated that we conceded that goal. But let's talk about it, because Reece James, with the fantastic delivery all day long for Reece James on those corner kicks. He was hitting the near post with the corner kick like every time. You might say that there was a foul in there on Raya on the corner kick before they scored. But if you say that, then you have to say there might have been a foul on Robert Sanchez it would have been a foul against Santos where Saliba was holding Santos. So maybe we got a little lucky on that one, and they got a little lucky to score their goal because the very next one. But it was interesting, their corner kick routine definitely caused problems. It was very interesting the way they started with two players closer to the corner kick, and then when you put these hand up, they run in to clog the space in at the near post instead of having that scrum at the beginning. So they're getting some movement in the box, and it's a little bit more dynamic. And it caused issues. It caused issues, and they got a goal from it. And I was very frustrated at halftime. I was so frustrated that we had done that at halftime. And then at the beginning of the second half, like I wanted more of the same. That's what I was calling for at halftime. I wanted more of the same, yeah. And when we came out, we didn't look like, I think Chelsea, a couple of tactical tweaks. They were winning more second balls. They were getting closer to João Pedro, were Cole Palmer and Pedro Neto on the other side. And they were winning second balls. And they had us under a lot of pressure. At 1-1, they had us under a lot of pressure for 20 minutes. You got to give it to them. For 20 minutes, we were very much so under pressure in that second half. A couple of times, the press broke down. Chelsea didn't do that at all in the first half. And a couple of times, the press broke down in the beginning of the second half, and we weren't able to get to the to the opposite side, and Chelsea were able to pass through a couple of times. And they were in the ascendancy. They were absolutely pressing. Their set pieces were causing problems, and they didn't do anything in the first half. They didn't do a thing in the first half except pressure on set pieces. And they were causing all kinds of grief, all kinds of pressure in that first 20 minutes. And it's crazy. We're looking at the highlights now from NBC. It's actually kind of crazy. They didn't do a single highlight from the beginning of halftime to Arsenal's second goal. And that 20 minutes was Chelsea's best period of the game. That's kind of misleading from the Peacock highlights there. I think it's very misleading from the Peacock highlights because Chelsea were 100% the better team for 20 minutes. And then I think on our goal, I think Pedro Neto on our goal, it might have been on our goal is where he got the first yellow for dissent when we scored the second goal. But Chelsea were very good in that 20 minutes. You got to give it to them. We were letting crosses in. We can't be doing that. And a couple of times they worked it well for Reece James to put a cross in. And it really caused problems, like a whole lot of problems. And I think that we absolutely needed the goal, like needed it bad to settle us down and get us back into the game. And I just want to briefly mention, because and I'll say my preface statement before, like I always do, the referee was shit. He always is shit. And so like we can't complain about it. I'm not going to complain about the referee because going into the game, we assumed he was going to be awful. During the game, he wasn't great. So after the game, we can't like be any kind of excited. But I will mention the fact that he took 2 advantages away from us. When Palmer has fouled Saka and Raya's trying to play the ball out and like in quick succession. And then when Pedro Neto goes diving in to Nelly and gets his second yellow, I was furious because they had stopped another advantage. But then, of course, that bit of refereeing was spot on because if you're going to give somebody a red card, if you're going to give someone a second yellow, you have to send them off. Let's hear what Reece James has to say here, actually. He says, disappointing to walk away empty-handed. Yeah, Raya definitely was big today. Yeah, right. Raya was definitely big today, that's for sure. In that period where we were under the cosh, as they say, across the pond, and made a couple of big saves, a couple of very important saves, and we were able to get it over the line in the end. Absolutely needed. Because I remember right before we scored, right before we won that corner, I was thinking, damn, we've been under it. We've been under it for 20 minutes, and I was, it's like that meme. I was like, I don't really get nervous, but in the end, I was, you know what I mean? Yeah, so for 20 minutes, we were teetering, and then we get the goal off another corner kick. Credit Nicholas Shover. Timber gets free, heads it. Great header, great goal, and from then on out, I thought that we absolutely played well. I thought we controlled the game very well. I thought we were back on top. We were winning more second balls. We were making them hit it long. And you got to say, Anton over on Fire Them Cannons. Make sure you're locked in on Fire Them Cannons, people. Make sure you're subscribed over there at Anton's channel. They're doing great things over there, of course. I've appeared on there a couple of times, and we'll probably have Anton on the channel here as well at some point. But Anton's been saying that when Gyökeres goes out, we kind of lose an impetus up front. We kind of lose, target man. And Havertz, yes, he's just back from injury or whatever, and then it was a setback, and then now he's back again, and you can't necessarily expect him to kind of be tip top as soon as he comes back or whatever. And he only had about 20 minutes to do so. But Victor Gyökeres was fantastic today, and you 100% can see the difference when he's not in there for us. I thought he worked so hard in the press to make Sanchez hit it long so many times, which was where our success was today, and tactically at least, and I think that, another fantastic performance. And people talking about Gyökeres, can go in the summer or whatever. He's been absolutely phenomenal. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life, because he was absolutely phenomenal in the last few games and in the run. He's been doing fantastic work, and he's coming good at the absolute right time for in the Arsenal. And yeah, you love to see it. I thought Bukayo Saka was fantastic today as well. I thought that he had some really good touches, some good work in that first half. Eze was good as well. He should have scored. Definitely should have scored. What a goal. Holy crap. They're showing some replays, some highlights here in the Brighton Forest game. Gomez rips one. Goalkeeper should do better. But anyway, I thought that Saka also was fantastic. Did good work down the right-hand side. They were leaving him 1v1 with Hato, and I thought he did very, very – what a goal from Morgan Gibbs-White. Holy crap. Yeah, I did the watch along for United this morning, and it was a good game. But this Brighton Forest game looks decent as well. But anyway, I think that all in all, it was a very good performance. I thought Declan Rice looked tired. He looked very tired in the end, and I thought it was a good sub to bring on Norgard. We need to see that far more often. And it was interesting to see when Norgard came in that he sat back and he took Zubimendi's position, and Zubimendi actually took Declan Rice's position higher up on the field. Something we haven't seen, something that I think we should see. Something that I've actually said that I think that I wouldn't mind seeing Rice farther back and Zubimendi forward. But just from the little bit that I saw from it, I actually understand why Arteta doesn't do that. I actually get it. Just from the little bit I saw of Zubi in that space, he kind of looks a little bit like he doesn't really know when to press and when to go and when to follow Caicedo. Rice was all over Moises Caicedo. Absolutely all over him. Caicedo was a ghost today because Declan Rice just pocketed him, just blanked him. It was fantastic. Enzo Fernandez was a ghost. Zubi did so well on him today. But yeah, Norgard coming in, he plays in the deeper lying six, and Zubi goes forward. And I think that we need to see that far more often. Norgard is a fantastic player, fantastic cover. And as the games pile up and they get more and more important, I think Norgard should get a little bit more minutes when we need Rice and when Zubi and Rice need a break. And so, yeah, I thought that was good work from the manager today in that regard. Havertz came in, ran around a bit. And, yeah, all in all, I think it was very good, apart from Trossard, who, yeah, he worked hard, but was not awesome going forward. Other than that, I think we did absolutely did well. Um, and I guess the last thing I want to point out is that there wasn't really that panic in the end. It looked a little dicey at times. Obviously, we're up a goal and a man at the end of the game, but I wasn't necessarily as nervous as I have been at times. I thought we looked more comfortable, more calm, and in control, and I absolutely love to see that. You absolutely love to see that. That's the mentality you want to see at the end of the game, and that's the mentality we want to see moving forward. And it was a little dicey. So let me come back on that a little bit. It was what a goal from Harry Wilson in the Fulham Spurs game. Anyway, there were moments there where it was a little dicey, and we I think at the end of games when Gyökeres comes off, but we don't switch it back to trying to play through the lines and we're just hitting it a little bit longer, I think Havertz is going to have to step up and be a little bit better in those moments. That's a great goal from Alex Iwobi as well. Former Arsenal man dunking on Spurs, getting the game winner. You love to see it. But I think in those moments in the end of the game when Gyökeres is off and Havertz comes in or Jesus, I think that we need to kind of adjust a little bit more to how we're playing, because right at the very end, we weren't winning the second balls as much. And so Chelsea were able to get that last series of corner kicks, which is a little nervy, of course. But I think that as time goes on, Arteta will notice that and he'll make sure we've got that. At the end of games, and Havertz will also improve, I think, in that regard. And so I'm happy. Absolutely excited about the win. Fantastic 3 points. We 150 million% needed that. Big performance, big 3 points, big win, and I'm absolutely pumped. Of course, we'll be locked in. We are at the Amex on Wednesday. Really quick turnaround. 3 days' time, we will be playing the goals down at the beach. And so we need to get our suntan lotion and towels ready so we can go ahead and kick back after beating Brighton as well. But of course, there will be a preview here on Tuesday morning, as if you have that notification bell on, you'll know, because we got it locked in, of course. And yeah, so thanks for being here. Go ahead and smash up those likes on your way out. Hype it up if you got any of the points left. And of course, I want to know what you're thinking down in the comments section below. Your thoughts, your feelings, your comments, your concerns. And it will be an absolute pleasure if you are new here to welcome you to the channel. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It would just make my day. Thank you so much for being here once again. I've had a good one. Come on, you Gunners, and you. We'll see you next time.